Okay, guys, so before I get into what we're going to do a little bit differently, I wanted to kind of start with what we're currently trying to do. So right now we're playing in our 4-2-3-1 shape, 4-2-3-1, and we talked a lot about playing in this mid block. So we would cut the field in thirds, low, mid, and high, and we talked a lot about trying to get the ball up in this space and trying to control the game through the middle of the field, trying to defend in the middle of the field, right? We talked a lot about keeping our vertical compression, right? That's something we talked a lot about. So this is generally how we've been trying to play. Now, here are the issues that we have been running into. Number one has been we have not been able to keep a consistent vertical compression. And it's just been leaving a couple issues here. So first of all, it's leaving two mids here to defend against usually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe even another one coming in here, outside back, something like that. So we were just getting overrun defensively. We've been getting overrun in the midfield with numbers. Another problem that we've been running into is that this formation that we've been playing here, I think, has been leaving our dangerous attacking players, of which we have a great many. We've got a lot of good attacking talent here, but unfortunately in this way we've been playing, I think we've been leaving them just a bit isolated, right? And then it's just been too easy for the defense to kind of cut off those connections. And that's why I think we have been having a hard time connecting with our attacking players, because they've just been a little isolated, right? Because they're just able to stand in these lanes because we're too spread out. So here is what we're going to do differently. Okay guys, now that I've gotten this cleaned up a little bit and reset it here, you'll see that our new formation is going to be a 4-2-2-2 or a 4-1-3-2, depending on situation, and I'll show how those similarities. And instead of the mid block, we're now going to be looking to play a high press. So the first step of that, a lot of this is going to look very similar. So the first step is our outside backs are going to look to play a little bit more pinched in. We want to really keep this back four nice and horizontally compressed. So we're going to focus a little bit more on that horizontal compression instead of our vertical compression. Right? We're going to let go a little bit of the vertical compression and focus more on our horizontal compression. Okay, so fullbacks are going to stay nice and close here. If they've got people out here, which they will, that's not the end of the world. They get the ball, we shift over, right? What we don't want happening is if our fullbacks are out here, and then we're here, and then they get the ball inside of us, that's where we're running into problems. So let's keep it nice and tight, horizontally. Keep it nice and tight. And if they want to play outside of us, right, then that's okay, right? Because as long as they're going outside, we're recovering where? Right back to our near post, right? And we're keeping our danger zone nice and secure. Okay, so defensive line, we want to focus on that horizontal compression. Okay. Now that we've got our back four nice and horizontally compressed here, we often talked about the game in terms of these thirds here. All right, we're going to take that away. I don't want us to focus on the thirds anymore. Instead, I just want us to focus on the halves. The halves. And in a high press, we want to play in their half. So let me set this up in our 4-2-2-2. I'll break it down in a second, so don't worry if this looks a little funky. Okay. So this is our 4-2-2-2. 4-2-2-2. Okay. So what's the change? And why? And how is this going to help us? So first of all, instead of playing in this mid-block here, all we're going to focus on is playing in the other team's half. I'm going to erase some of this here. So, don't worry about thirds anymore. Let's just worry about halves. If the ball is in our half, our goal is to make it not be in our half. The more of the game that is being played in this half of the field, the half of the field that doesn't have our goal in it, is good. No one's scoring from midfield. If the ball is in their half, we are not getting scored on. Fair enough? So, let's say we're back here. We're deep. We've got our outside mids here. We'll talk about these two in a second. But, okay, we're here. Let's say we get the ball here. Right, the press is on. They're pressuring us. We don't have we don't have as much midfield support in this, so it may be often, we'll get this ball under pressure without a really good passing option. That's very possible. So we're going to go up and out. Every clearance has to be wide. We're running into some problems where we clear it. We get a good clearance, but if the clearance goes to the middle, they're just picking it off, and then they're jamming it right back down our throats. Hey, if we clear the ball and it goes out for a throw-in, that's good for us, right? I'll show you exactly how that works. So let's say we've got our right back here on the ball, under pressure. Say there's absolutely no one here. Okay, and then she's just going to kick it up and out for a throw-in. Right, they take a second, they go get the ball, they take their throw-in, right? We're high pressing, so we're just going to man mark. We're not going to worry so much about space. That's another change that I'll talk about in a second. Right? We're not going to worry about necessarily defending space like we were before. We were worrying about what space we were defending. Now, instead of defending space here, because that was leaving people open because we were too worried about what space we were in, we're going to take away the spatial defending for the most part, and we're just going to go man to man. Right? So everyone just pick someone up, pick someone up, pick someone up, pick someone up, right? Pick someone up. Doesn't necessarily even matter what position you're in, right? Everyone has to pick someone up. And then we go man to man, right? And then they throw it, and we clear it up and out again. And then they go back here, and they take their throw in, and the entire game shifts here, right? We're still marking the same people. We didn't even have to leave our marks. Same exact marks, right? And then they throw it in. And then we kick it out up to here. And then they take a throw in from back here. I hope we're starting to pick up on our pattern. Okay? And now, let's say we keep knocking that all. Now let's say they're taking a throw in from here, and we're high pressing, we're pressing, and they have no options on a throw. How does that look for us, gang? How does this over here look for us, right? And then all we have to do is steal it, and we're in dangerous positions, right? So whenever we're clearing, super important, guys, whenever we're clearing, it's got to be up and out. I don't care if we set the Ohio State record for most throw-ins conceded. That's great. We just keep pushing, 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 pushing. And then once we get the ball in the other team's half, right? Because we're not just going to kick it mindlessly for the entire game. Hey, get out of here. Hey, stop it. Okay. Then, once we get the ball up in this half, and we win it back, say, which we will, we win this ball back when we're all pressed up. We're pressed up. We're going to play a high line. All right, so center backs need to be getting up to basically midfield, right, and then keeping this nice and tight here, and then you guys are actually going to come up and in a little bit. One of the mids will stay. One of the mids will step. We have two strikers, or two mids here, and this is what we call, and this is going way back in the history of soccer, if you guys ever look this up. If you see what this looks like, it's what we call a WM. A WM formation, right? We see how that makes a WM, right? So, in a lot of ways, when we're playing, it's going to look like a 2, 3, 3, 2. Because one of our mids is going to step a little higher than the other one to play like more of an attacker. Our two mids here are going to play a little bit more narrow so we can stay connected. And then we have two strikers. So it's going to look like a WM. Now you may notice we don't have a whole lot of width here. That's okay. That's okay. Right? We talk about making the game big with the ball. So instead of making the game big in a wide sense, we're going to look to make the game big in a vertical sense, as long as it's in their half. If you are playing defense, either center back or outside back, you have two main responsibilities. Responsibility one is make sure that we are clearing out, not in. Right? If you're on the left back, that may mean using your left foot. I know that's scary. The other thing is, we have to be doing everything in our power to push the line, so to speak, push the game up. So every time it goes up and out, we push. Because remember, our center backs determine where the game is played, or defenders, because we set the offside line, right? If you don't know how offside works, I will link you a video for that. So the higher our defense steps, the smaller we make the game for the other team, in a vertical sense, by just stepping up, and then we're looking to play in their half. So defenders, it is so important that every chance we get, whether it's a punt from our goalkeeper, whether it's a clearance, whether it's a set piece, anything like that, say even it's one of our center backs, say, gets the ball here. I don't know where I put that. There it is. And they break the line on a dribble, we've got to push up with them. Right? Everything in our job as defenders is to get the game out of our half. That is our defensive strategy, is to not even be on our own half. Now, because we're playing a high line, we need to be aware that leaves what? If we're playing a high line, then we're leaving this space in behind here. So there's two things. First of all, these two need to be aware, and they need to be ready to drop quickly. The other point of that is our goalkeeper, right? And we have some phenomenal goalkeepers. So we can't be hanging out in our goal. We can't even be hanging out in our box. We need to be hanging out up here. Right? No one's shooting from midfield. Okay. Well, okay, not even here. We need to be about a couple yards outside of our crease. No more than a couple yards. We don't want to get carried away, right? We need to be there in case there's any balls that go over the top. Right? The ball goes over the top. Then you can just come, clean it out, and then remember, same as the defenders, up and out. So hang out a couple yards outside your crease, and then if they, say, break past a defender, you've got more than enough space and time that you can drop. Don't drop straight back, though. Dropping at an angle here to block that angle, and if they hit some miracle shot from midfield, then I don't know, okay. So we're not going to worry about miracles. We're going to worry about what's normal. So goalkeeper, need to be outside your box, couple yards outside your crease, ready to clean up any balls that get past our center backs on the initial ball. All right? Alright, center mids. Not a whole lot of change in there. Pretty similar, except instead of looking to find those side-to-side passes, right? We talked a lot about trying to work the ball side-to-side through our midfield because we were trying to play in that middle block. We want to be more aggressive and go a little bit more vertical, right? And it's okay if we take a little bit more risks. We just got to make sure that it's always better to overhit a ball than to underhit a ball, right? So we're going to be a little bit more aggressive with those balls we're hitting in behind because we're going to have more attacking players to attack those balls in behind, right? So instead of trying to build through the midfield here, ticky-tacky, patience, we got a lot of speed, we got a lot of attacking talent. We're going to look to unleash it, play it in behind, use our speed, right? So strikers, not really a big difference other than the fact that now you're not working by yourself. You got two, right? Very important point. Make sure you guys are no more than 10 to 15 yards apart. The two strikers are a partnership. You have to be able to work together, right? One checks in, one checks out, right? One checks in, one checks out. One shifts over here or here, right? You guys are a partnership, a yin and a yang, right? You guys got to stick together. If one striker's here and one striker's here, we're not playing with two strikers. We're playing with a striker and a striker. A striker and a striker is not the same as playing with two strikers, right? So let's make sure we're playing with two strikers and not a striker and a striker. Other than that, pretty similar. Looking to make those diagonals down the line, looking to make runs in behind. All the same good stuff there. And then last but not least here, we've got our outside mids. So not a huge amount of difference, honestly. Another problem we were running into is we weren't really getting all the way out to the line anyway. We were kind of hanging out here. So instead, we're just going to pinch in just a touch more, and this is going to allow us to be less isolated, and now we can combine with our teammates better, and then make these runs out here into space because we're a little bit deeper. You know, the problem we were running into is our wings were too high when we were playing here, so then the defense would be here, and because, you know, we're already here at the defenders, there was nowhere for us to go. If we start a little bit deeper here, and they're more occupied here, then when you're getting this ball, not only are you going to get the ball more often because you are more connected to your teammates, you know, but when you get this ball to your feet, you're going to be able to take space and build up momentum and dribble rather than receiving it with someone already on your back or receiving it with someone here, right? Instead, we can come in, pick up the ball, turn, and then run at them with the ball, which we have a lot of very dangerous players who are very good at that, or we can hit these 1-2s, which we are also very good at. So I hope we're starting to see here how this 4-2-2-2 plays into those 1-2s that Coach Angelo is always stressing that are hugely important to how we play, and just using that speed and the attack that we have. Now it's important, we still got to get back here. Outside backs are going to mostly stay home, try to create that M, right? And then our two center mids here, depending on the game, you know, we may need to sit a little deeper some games with both of them, or if we can, that's where it becomes the 4-1-3-2, right? This is probably usually going to be Schubert stepping up into this more attacking spot, or keeping it as more of a 4-2-2-2. I just bumped the camera. 4-2-2-2 if we need a little bit more solidarity in front of our center backs, right? And then everything is about getting the ball from this half into this half where we have all this dangerous attacking talent. We are stacked with dangerous attacking talent, so I'm trying to help us utilize that a little bit more. Let's get the ball up into the attack, and then let's just flood them. Let's just flood them with all this talent here, and then we're just going to score a lot of goals, and we're just going to blow teams out of the water. So that is the plan. Questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out.